Hi everyone, today we have a new video and it's the unboxing of something very interesting and something that I love checking out. It's of course the Xiaomi 12 Pro. Really curious to see how that phone actually handles itself, but we're gonna find that out in a little bit as well. Other things that Xiaomi also has sent me is of course the Xiaomi Watch S1 Active. Actually really nice, I really love their previous watch as well. Great battery life. And of course their new buds as well, the Xiaomi Buds 3T Pro. But we're gonna check those out in a different video, a full review for both of them as well. But the thing is, I kind of really wanna check out what's inside this box. Well, we know what's inside, but let's open this up. And of course, you're greeted with the Xiaomi 12 Pro. Now this is their latest flagship and a really interesting device. There are some things that I truly love about Xiaomi and what they are doing currently with their phones. To begin with, of course, I'm a person that likes photography. Even though I don't do it as much as I would like to because of the work that I'm doing, I love photography and I think this is one of the main things that sells me towards Xiaomi instead of some other brands where I don't feel like they capture what I want to do. One brand that does that is of course Sony, but I will have to say Xiaomi does it in the terms of realism, and that is something that I'm very curious about when it comes to, of course, the Xiaomi 12 Pro. So we're gonna discuss the phone itself a little bit. I've been using it for a little while and I really like what Xiaomi again is doing when it comes to their phones lately. The one thing that I straight away have to say when I first held the device is it feels so good in the hand. That's the one major selling point for me. And why? Well, for one, you don't actually feel a lot of difference between the frame and the glass back. This makes it feel really nice in the hand. The only thing I actually feel in terms of difference is of course the screen protector that is pre-installed. I keep this on there. I like to have that on there because, you know, micro scratches, those are the worst on the screen for me. I hate having that. I'd rather film with something on there like a screen protector than having those micro scratches. Yes, I know you will see it and whatnot, but honestly, I'd rather keep that on there. Either way, in terms of build, this feels like a really good phone, and I cannot tell you how good it feels in the hand. Overall, what I also like is the texture on the back. This is a really nice texture. It's subtle, but still it looks very sophisticated and clean. I also like the purple version that I've seen of this as well. It looks really nice. But overall, I think this is my favorite color for it. And the build quality again, and the way that they actually done everything, really stellar. Yes, the camera design looks a bit, you know, bland. It doesn't look very interesting, but that's perfectly fine. Talking about that camera system, we get three 50 megapixel sensors. Yes, you can tell that there is a difference in size sensor. We of course get the 50 megapixel main sensor, a 50 megapixel ultra wide and a 50 megapixel telephoto. All three have the same resolution. This is great to have, especially an ultra wide. I think that's something that needed that bump up in quality, especially the megapixels itself, because if you do like landscape photography, having that higher resolution really matters for ultra wide. I think that's really great to see because of course on a phone, megapixels can matter a bit more than for instance on a camera that I'm shooting right now, because those sensors are so large for it that it does manage to capture more detail. So I think it's important for an ultra wide to have more megapixels as well. Of course, that's not the full story, but I do think it is really helpful, especially if you do want to print it, for instance. Having that high resolution definitely helps. And it's great to see that with all three sensors, you do get that same resolution. Now, of course, in terms of display, you get the 6.73 inch display. It's of course an AMOLED display. It has adaptive refresh rate, so it's between 1 and 120, but technically most of the time you will find that it's between 10 and 120 Hertz. Overall, again, great to see, and I do have it on adaptive. Another thing that's also great is that here in the Netherlands at least, the base version is 12 gigabytes and 256 gigabytes of memory. This means that that's the phone that you get for 1,099. You do also have of course the Xiaomi 12X, which is the smaller version, and I also have used that on the event from Xiaomi here in the Netherlands. A really compact phone compared to some phones that we have these days. And I think, again, that's also a solid contender, and I'm gonna try to get my hands on that one for a full review to see how that one performs, and of course, how that one is in day-to-day use, especially with that Snapdragon 870 inside. But of course, you also have the Xiaomi 12, which is almost close to this, but it's a little bit cheaper. But of course, you do get some different settings when it comes to the camera, of course, with that one being $899, of course, as well, with, again, 256 gigabytes and 12 gigabytes of RAM. In terms of updates, it will have 3 years of major updates. This means that, of course, you get a different Android version, but included as well as MIUI version, and of course, 4 years security updates as well. Let me know if you think that's enough, but I think that's perfectly fine. Most people are done with a phone after 2-3 years. I don't think it's something to shout home about, but it's fine. It's nothing bad. What I really like though as well is, yes, I already opened the package by the way, is that apart from, of course, your cable, you do get a 120 watt charger inside. Now you think normally this is done by splitting the battery in two and therefore charge both of them at a set speed, in this case of course 60 watt. However, this is a little bit different with the Xiaomi 12 Pro. It has a Surge P1 chip inside that allows this battery to actually stay one single battery and still allow it to charge at 120 watt, not heating up too much or anything like that. And it does allow the battery to be smaller compared to something that you have to split, because there's a physical split between it. In terms of battery size, it's a 4600 mAh battery inside, which actually is surprisingly lasting me quite well. I get about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time depending on what I'm doing. If I'm filming outside a lot, then it's about 5.5-ish, but overall battery life on it so far is great. Do you notice the heat? That's something that you might be wondering when it comes to, of course, having that Snapdragon Gen 1. Yes, you do notice it. If you are, for instance, playing games, yes, you can notice that this phone does get hotter. And that's something that I'm not sure how much the manufacturer can do about that, because I hear this complaint a lot about different phones that have that same. If you don't know Golden Retriever, check that channel out by the way. It's a very good channel if you do want that in-depth information about a phone performance, about a phone heating up and so on. He's really good at it. We'll leave a link in the description for him as well. Either way, yes, you do notice the heat, but overall it hasn't impacted my use of the phone that much. And yes, well, it does get hotter and a little bit uncomfortable sometimes when, of course, you are playing for a longer amount of time. It's not something that bothers me too much, but I do hope that with the next version of the Snapdragon Gen 1 Plus that is rumored, that we do get better management of that heat, or maybe somehow better cooling inside a phone itself. Even though Xiaomi has done a lot to cool this phone properly as well. Either way, this is my unboxing of course, the Xiaomi 12 Pro, a really interesting device, and I really cannot wait for an Ultra of this version. I hope it comes, and I hope if it does come, that I can get my hands on it, because the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is still one of my favorite devices out there, next to, of course, my Sony. And I think, again, Xiaomi is looking like a really compelling package here again, especially with, of course, getting things included, like that 120 watt charger. You know, if you want to showcase new technology like faster charging, like 45 watt, I'm just mentioning something random, like 45 watt, it's just a random number. I'm not calling out any company. Yes, I am. Like 45 watt and then not included seems explicit. Did I tell too much there? Either way, hope you enjoyed this unboxing of the Xiaomi 12 Pro. And of course, as stated, stay tuned for, of course, the new watch and of course the new buds. I'm gonna review them on this channel as well. And either way, hope you enjoyed this video and talk to you guys in the next.